tell a story when Dick gets up on stage in terms of how he has influenced my life. Brother Dick Gregory. Dick does not know how happy I am that he is here in our midst this evening. Certainly, it is a great evening. We just honored my wife, Sister Leola Maddox, and Dick Gregory, 1968, ran for the U.S. presidency, and he had out this publication called Write Me In. Write Me In. And I was down in a place called Coweta County, Georgia, down in Noonan. And, you know, white folks probably have never heard of anybody in Coweta County, Georgia, voting for a black man. And Leola and I, in 1968, said that the only person that we were going to vote for was Dick Gregory. And we went down to the courthouse that day and got our ballots and wrote in the name Dick Gregory in Noonan, Georgia. And he only got 2 votes out of Coweta County. That was me and my wife. But it caused a major stir in Coweta because they wanted to know what 2 Negroes in Coweta County dared to vote for Dick Gregory. And it was the first time that I had an opportunity to vote for a black person. And I loved every bit of it. I loved every bit of it. Don't let them tell you that you threw away a vote by voting for someone like Dick, because we made a powerful statement back in 1968 made a powerful statement. And when they get the returns and they start seeing how in little places like Coweta, that Dick Gregory picked up 2 votes, it has a tremendous impact. And I've always loved the brother from way back. And you know, life is such where people never know the kind of impact that they've had on other people's lives, you know, and what they have done and how they have influenced it over the years. And going back from that time on, whatever Dick said or whatever he wrote or whatever it was, we were always in it. We've always loved him, and this is a great evening here at the Oberia Dempsey Center, Brother Barty. This is a great evening. I'm glad that you came out to hear some wise words. I was getting a little bit worried about you. I know you call yourself a poet, but you don't know everything. See, I have to take time out for people, because I know everybody here is family, Dick, and I have to take time sometimes to chastise them, because they don't do me right all the time. Come on down, Barty. You need to be on the front row. That's right. Come on down. Yeah, you need to be on the front row, my brother. That's right. Get on the front row.
I take my whip.
You need to be on the morning bench. That's right. Sister Irene, glad you brought him. All right, come on down. But we are very pleased to have him. We had an opportunity when we were over at the Masonic Temple, having your son come over on several occasions, and we were very supportive of him during his ordeal. Get this brother back, you know. But Dick is doing. He is really one of the great persons of our times, and we're all blessed to be able to say that we were here with him. I want us one more time to stand on our feet and put our hands together and holler from the top of our lungs. And let's give it up as we introduce our keynote speaker for tonight, Brother Dick Gregory.
Say that I thank and praise God. We have all made it here safely today. And I pray to God that your return and my return will be equally as safe. I all made it here safely today. And I pray to God that your return and my return will be equally as safe. I very seldom mess up, but I was kind of in a hurry. We had 3 big demonstrations in Washington, D.C. My mom, Jamal Mambua, was on death row. We went to the White House today, and then we went to the Justice Department today. And it's just something wrong with a system that they can keep everybody so ignorant, and yet everybody thinks they're so smart. That shooting that happened in Philadelphia with Jamal. Philadelphia at that time was one of the few cities in the world where a cab driver could carry a gun. So he legitimately had a legal gun. His gun was a .38. The cop was killed with a .44. That shouldn't even be debatable. I mean, we run around asking for a trial. That shouldn't even be debatable. They should have to explain how a .38, because I tell you one thing, if a cop gunned down a black and the cop had a .38 and the black was hit with a .44, it wouldn't be no question that the cop didn't do it. And then we left there, went out to the state capitol in Annapolis, Maryland. Police brutality. And then by that time I got behind in my vitamins, and so I was rushing. So I said, well, I'll just take my vitamins after I finish speaking. And so I said, but I think I'll hit a little ginseng real quick and open up my little ginseng and pop that. Not till a few minutes ago did I realize I made a mistake and took my Viagra. I got to talk quick so I can get on out of here, because when that stuff kick in, y'all talk about we do anything for Brother Dick. We'll see. Brother Dick don't need no money. Everybody take care of Brother. We'll see when that stuff kick in. Now there are some serious drawbacks with Viagra. Sometimes you can't get through that scanner at the airport. And they ask all the most stupid questions at the airport. It's been with you all day. Did you pack it yourself? And I don't use that old regular kind of street stuff. I get mine from the doctor. $10 a shot. Bills me at the house. He called me in California the other day. My wife had sent a check in for $3,010. She said, she must have made a mistake. I said, she didn't make a mistake. She knew it cost $10. That $3,000 was just saying thanks. And then after I got here this evening, I almost didn't make it because these cab drivers have got so upset here lately. I was right down the corner, walking, just sneezed and raised my hand. 20 cabs said, come on, we'll take you. I said, I don't want a cab. Get on in here, boy. It's amazing what fear do. And fear and God do not occupy the same space. Thinking about the Martin Luther King holiday, and thinking about a few days of the Black History Month. Progress, God Almighty. I'm 68 years old. I remember when they used to call it Negro History Week. Now it's Black Month. Of course, wouldn't you know when they get ready to give us a month, it'd be that month of February, all these days missing. I mean, I never expected a 31-dayer, but I was stunned when they laid February on it. Because most black folks I know, not only do we not like February, we don't even understand it. February the 2nd, what's a groundhog? February the 2nd, if the groundhog sees his shadow, 6 more weeks of winter. Now tell that to somebody living in San Diego. Last February the 2nd, I was doing a radio show in Chicago. White dude said, Dick Gregory, today's Groundhog Day. What do you think happens if Groundhog sees his shadow? I said, man, I don't play that groundhog mess. So back up off that. And then the white boy got real hot. You anti-American, anti-social? What's wrong with the groundhog? So I didn't know you felt that way about it. If you feel that way about it, ask me again. I'll play it. He said, today's Groundhog Day, boy. What happens today if the groundhog sees his shadow? I said, 6 more weeks of winter, sir. But since we're going to play it, let's keep on playing. Suppose that groundhog came out today and didn't see his shadow, but see 5 black dudes. What do that mean? The boy got nervous and said, I don't know what it means. It means 6 more weeks of basketball, tell me. So the amount of progress we have made is just like, last year I was at the Super Bowl. Stevie Wonder and I was doing a project, and we hadn't finished it up, and Stevie Wonder was the halftime entertainment, so I had to follow him down to the Super Bowl. First time I ever been there, and everybody will be serious about the Super Bowl. They dropped $600 million in 4 days. serious about the Super Bowl. And they stand in line, matter of fact, 4 days, waiting to get in. 4 days before the game, they in line. Oh, in Stevie Wonder's room, looking out with binoculars, and it's about 4 days before, it's about 10,000 white folk lined up. I said, Stevie, I wish you could see this. The second day, about 10,000 more showed up. They still got 2 days to go, and they still there. It was in Miami, and they short, you know, and barbecuing, but they just happy, just waiting on the gate to open. And the third day, about 40,000 white folks standing in that line waiting to get in. And then the last day, they opened up the gate at 12:30, and about 11:35, here come a brother. And I said, Stevie, I'm glad you came. I really believe this brother gonna walk to the front of the line. I mean, these white folk been standing in that serious line for 4 days, and the brother, he clean too, got on a suit and, you know, serious shoes. He ain't got none of them Nikes and them tennis stuff on. And sure enough, the brother walked to the front of the line, and I just didn't even want them white folk grabbed him, and 6 burly white boys, and threw him out 70 yards back and stomped on him, and the brother got up and just brushed his stuff off and went right back up. I said, what kind of drugs can he be on? And 10 of these white boys grabbed him and knocked him down, just stomped on him, and he got up and brushed himself off again, looked at him and said, look, y'all want to get in here, you better be cool. I'm the brother with the key. I'm in charge now. Huh? The game. But you really have to see, if you're going to live in a sick, insane country like this, you got to pay attention. And that's the problem. Some of y'all so busy being mad, so busy rapping, you ain't got time to be quiet. And just pay attention. You can't trick the universal self. I'm not talking about that old mumbo-jumbo stuff that's been manipulated through culture patterns. See it and scared to say anything about it. I don't have no problem with celebrating Dr. King's death day, April the 4th. King was gunned down. If you want to celebrate that day every year, it's April the 4th. JFK was gunned down in Dallas, November the 22nd. You want to celebrate that day, that's no problem. And born and raised in the Baptist Christian Church, I had no problem with the crucifixion of Christ. I just couldn't understand how Easter and Good Friday represents the crucifixion of Christ. And one year Easter come in March, and another year come in April. And I just didn't know how you could be killed in 2 different months. And I didn't get into that. Then when I started peeping at the good books and saw that 3,000 years before Christ was born, the pagans were celebrating Christmas and Easter. And I just closed the book up and just left that one alone. But there's a universal God force that you was born with. And it ain't got nothing to do with reading and writing. Matter of fact, I was with some boys in Europe not too long ago. Serious white boys sitting around drinking cognac at $40,000 a shot. And that's cheap cognac, because up on the 16th floor where we was, it started at $100,000 a shot. Serious white boys that know everything major was stolen from us. They know that. See, they have to start out with truth before they can trick me. And they were discussing the fact about 2025, there'll be no such thing as reading and writing. And I didn't have no problem with that, because reading and writing ain't godly, ain't spiritual, ain't universal. How is it I can leave here and go to Tokyo tonight and I don't understand what they saying and can't read what they wrote? That's a game they play. I go to Africa and run across Africa look more like me than me. I don't know what they saying. So this thing is moving fast. Y2K, don't get rid of your water yet. Matter of fact, if they pull off what they gonna pull off, just water ain't gonna save you.
All right.
This country spent $200 billion getting ready for January the 1st. The bank spent $200 million. Africa ain't spent a quarter. And all this stuff worked on January the 1st. So either they know something or voodoo worked. Or maybe they gave us the wrong day. Because right tonight, the Pentagon has a $50 million Y2K war room. So y'all go to play your game. The FBI cannot take no time off till after March. United States military, division after division after division, has been in place. And they'll be there till after March. I had a problem with Y2K because I just didn't believe this white boy could be smart enough to invent a computer 30 years ago and didn't know it wouldn't roll over. So that's why I didn't buy into it. And then when I saw all the tricking that was going down, I said, what do you got planned? And now they made big announcements yesterday that the computer, credit card computers, y'all hear about that? They messed up. And so you say it's going to start billing you twice. So I call my credit card people and say, well, when will it mess up where I won't get no bill? How y'all going to tell me y'all got a computer that go out, but it go out in your face? See, it don't take much to think when you get away from that old mumbo jumbo and all the more nasty attitude. You go home, write a letter, take a stamp, and lick it and put it on that letter, and you can send that letter all the way around the world. Hot, cold, and that stamp don't fall off. What did you just put in your mouth? What did you put in your mouth that you can send all the way around the world and it won't come off? You walk down the street long enough, your laces are untied. What is on that stamp? And the people that deliver it, they not friendly, they just toss it. And the stamp don't come off. And you just... Somewhere when you just stop and just think about the game. And sometimes you get so wrapped up in the thing. First, there's something got to be wrong with all of us to choose to stay in a filthy, degenerate, ungodly, unspiritual country like this. So then if you're going to stay here, you prepare yourself. If you're going to live up north in the wintertime, you don't get none of them old lightweight pimp outfits. You get some serious clothes. Y'all is in the heart of this vicious, insane craziness and just walk around like... You go to white colleges and just... I went to white college, but I know they was doing so. I didn't know what it was. But they knew I knew. Because every time I walk down campus, I take 3 steps and stop. They say, what's wrong? I said, I know y'all doing something that ain't right. You got, and they, they right in front of your face, they do it. Patty Hearst gets kidnapped. Y'all remember that? She in bed, huh? She go to the door with her, whatever white women sleep in. And they snatch her out the door. But they could identify her, with robbing the bank in Oakland because she dropped her driver's license.
Now, do white women go to bed with their driver's license? Hear me good now. Because if I come to your house and snatch you in your pajamas, then 3 weeks later, your driver's license show up, huh? Oh, you see that old Cuban mess? If that little white Cuban boy would have been black, they'd have threw him back in the water where his mama died. Okay. Right back in. Time magazine last week, 2 weeks ago, picked Man of the Year. White boy, Amazon.com. Did y'all see that? Here. Here's a white boy ain't made a profit since he been in business. $300 million in debt, and he the man of the year? I called Time Magazine and said, y'all just want some pictures, some folks ain't got no money, why don't you go to Chicago to the housing projects and put that whole housing project on the cover? And then they decided that they was going to do the man of the century, huh? Of the century. And they had some serious problems with that. Hitler kept winning. Jesus was second. Huh? This country y'all choose to live in, if you're going to live here, you better, huh? So then they said, well, let's take Jesus out because he really wasn't here this century. And then Hitler got all his votes. But that shouldn't surprise nobody black, because when they sold OJ's t-shirt, jersey, that white boy took it and burned it on the courthouse steps. And you know he wouldn't have burned Hitler's jacket. If they find Hitler's jacket, huh? They would put it in a museum. And so you better listen to that God-given consciousness. That's the one that won't fail you. And so they picked the man of the century. Huh? Einstein. And matters what y'all need to do, y'all need to make y'all up a real-time copy. You know how you do it? And this is the fake one. The real one is put Dr. Martin Luther King picture on. Why? Because Einstein was talking about theories and all that kind of crap. King was talking about human rights. And Einstein, if he was alive, he would tell you, had he had human rights in Germany, he wouldn't have had to leave there to come over here to make his stuff work. Huh? And we keep saying, well, China, you can't do this, and they don't say Chinese, they can't get in this or get in that because they don't have computers or they don't understand mathematics. They talk about human rights. And nobody has furthered the cause of human rights in the history of this planet like Dr. King and our black movement. But we have to stop waiting on the oppressor to recognize us. So we need to make t-shirts and sell them all the way across the country and pick our person of the century. And just put it right back in their face. That's the power we have. Somewhere when you stop and think about how fast this thing is moving. I said, if you're not ready to move with it, then have fun quick, because recess is just about over. See, the old white boy messed up with the computer because he didn't really have leap year in his psyche. This year is the first time leap year comes on a 00 year since 1600. And there is no computer. They got 29 days for next month. Now, it didn't start off with a trick. He just overlooked that. When that Gregorian calendar was put together by Pope Gregory the 13th. And he said there's more than 365 days to the year. There's 365 plus. So every 4 years, let's add a day. But it has to be divisible by 400. And then that's when we get the leap year. And when they put the computers together, the fact that leap year haven't fell on a 00 since 1600 and it won't fall again after this year to 2400, they wasn't aware of that. And that's what they worried about. That's what they worried about. And I'm watching, I'm shopping. I went out and spent $30,000 on Neiman Marcus. I'm shopping till I know, I'm waiting on it to fail. I'm buying stuff for black folks I don't even like. And another thing you black folks got to stop being, y'all got to stop getting in debt, then being scared. You got the stuff, you should be happy. Y'all running around talking about reparations, you got it. Then you're going to send the money in anyway. Then get your credit, get all messed. I'm so tired of running around black folks want to have good credit. You got good credit, you ain't got no cash. I'm trying to find me some black folks with a lot of cash and bad credit. Oh, silly brother called me the other day all upset. They about to repossess my car. What must I do? Don't park in front of the house. Car green, painted red. I mean, the biggest problem I had with my wife, Lily, when I first got married, she couldn't handle debt. Walked in the house one day, what are we going to do about Sears and Roebuck? I said, you act like we got some money. We don't have no money. And when I get some money, Sears and Roebuck is not my first priority. I told her Sears knew I wasn't going to pay for this stuff when I got it. They're on the back of the application, said, who's going to pay for this? I wrote your mama. Well, I walked in the house 2 weeks later, I thought my wife was having a nervous breakdown. She's screaming and hollering and waving this letter. They did it. I said, baby, what's wrong? They did it. She said, Roebuck, final notice. I looked at final notice. Thank God we won't be hearing from them no more. I was down in Atlanta yesterday. I was doing this television show. His wife said, well, you know, Art Rocker, the baseball player that made all them old stupid statements, and now they said he needs to see a psychiatrist. Guy asked me what about it. I said, no, I'm the one that needs to see the psychiatrist. After reading what he said, I'm the one got a problem, not him. The games. Somewhere. And I just thank this organization and what you all are doing in the United African to live in this city here. And y'all really double-cross black folks all over the world. But y'all got people outside here thinking New York, if you just get to New York, you got it made. You get to New York, you get shot. Thank God for Sharpton and all that. And you know, I'm not looking at Madison and his wife up here, and I just say, do you know this brother with his intelligence could be somewhere behaving himself and living good and going through all the changes and wouldn't have to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning taking care of somebody's hotel bill and all of that. But thank God that God picks people every now and then to say, you. And every time these white folks in this town get ready to do something wrong, they got to think, what's old Maddox and Sharpton going to do? And as bad as the cops are here, if it wasn't for movements like this here, they'd be worse. They'd be worse. And don't think you can behave yourself out of a whooping. You can educate yourself out of a whooping. PhD, y'all look in the mirror and see your children intelligent, speaking French and all that. They see nigger when they see you. And I had it happen in my family as a good example. My baby son, I tell people all over the world, there's 30 brilliant minds on the planet. He's between 1 and 3. And we don't have to be validated by Harvard or Yale or MIT. He went to Phillips Academy High School. We paid $25,000 a year for him to go to high school at a time when Harvard was just charging $19,000. At high school he went to, at the time he was there, had produced 12 presidents. Since then, Bush become 13 presidents now. At one time, 85% of the people that controlled the Fortune 500 went to that high school my baby went to. He leave there and go to Howard University, have one of the highest grade points in the history of School of Finance. He graduates on Saturday. One of my daughters graduated from Georgetown Law School on Sunday. They told me and my wife, they said, in 35 years of my husband and I running this, we've never seen a legal mind like your daughter. 6 months later, neither one of them had a job. Y'all gonna play your games if you want to. Y'all go on and believe you can educate this thing away. Y'all go on and believe you can smile it away. You can behave it away. And so like Matter said, you know, black folk love me, so I made a phone call here and collected some IOUs to win the false, will you please get these 2 punks out of my house? See, anybody can get 10 children out of college. I got them out the house. You got to be a genius to do that. My daughter come here and take that New York bar exam and walked away with 7 hours to spare. My son wanted to go get his MBA. To go to the good schools, you have to work for 2 years. I said, well, no, just put him in the financial section of the #1 money city in the world. Just put him over there getting coffee. That ain't going to show up on his transcript. After being there a little while, they recognized his intelligence. And one day I'm sitting in Paris looking at the Riddick Bowe Galata fight that broke up to a riot in Madison Square Garden. And I'm laughing, telling my wife, baby, I wish you had HBO. You can't believe, ain't no police around, ain't nobody out here. I mean, they got a full-scale riot going on. And all at once I see this chump with these dreadlocks and 20 cops whooping him, and I didn't realize till they turned around that was my son. $25,000 a year to go to high school, one of the most brilliant minds on the planet, and all them cops saw was nigger. He ain't combed his hair. 17 years, they thought he was Jamaican. They told him in the squad car on the way to jail, nigger, if you was in the Bronx, we put a bullet in your head. They didn't know they just whooped the financial analyst for the city of New York. Where he worked, they can't tell white folks how to spend $34 billion, but they can't touch it till they analyze. They got to analyze the police's budget. My wife kind of panicked. She said, what we gonna do? What we gonna do? I'm in Paris. Well, you got to come back. They'll kill him in jail. They do kill black folks in jail, but we can't walk around selling whoop tickets, talking about stand up to this system, and the first time it come down on you, you want to run and jump out. They do kill black folks in jail. But I said, you know, your daughter, she's prosecuted in Brooklyn. Once you call her as a conflict, just have her go over there and snoop around and see what they're doing. So she go over there, that's when we find out 2 of my sons got arrested. Now we got 1 son. If you don't ask about him, we do not volunteer. No. Y'all know what I'm talking about, don't you? I got one boy, whatever the police say he did, he did. He asked me one day, hey, Pop, what's probable cause? I said, look in the mirror. And they had all kind of charges trumped up against him. I had the guy told me who was president of the city council, Italian guy, been there for a long time. I think he ran for governor. Ex-cop. Told me I never thought I'd see the day I'd be on the other side of the men in blue. But said, that son of yours, ain't no way in the world he could have done. Not the one I know, the things they said he done. And then all at once, they start finding out where they'd messed up. And then all at once, it was this organization that stood by my two boys every time they went to court. This organization. Every time they went. And they won the case. They won the case. Very seldom you win a case against police. And stand up. He's right here. Johan. Right So I just want to personally say to Brother Maddox and this organization, I thank you. It's a heck of a thing when you're out there marching for other people. It's a hell of a thing, boy, when it comes in your house. One thing I like about this white boy, I mean, he's so cold and he just don't feel no pain. I mean, Frankenstein just thought the girl didn't want to go to prom because she didn't have an outfit. It didn't dawn him that he was ugly. Somewhere when you look and see where this thing is going and how fast it's moving and how vicious it is, here's a story that broke. I read about $600 worth of newspapers, magazines every week. This story only ran in one newspaper in the whole country. New York Daily News. Serious story. It's about one of the most celebrated psychics that ever lived, Gene Dixon. And I remember reading an article 30 years ago that somebody just sitting around didn't have nothing to do and got to checking out her predictions. And they said that every prediction she made that was pertaining to nature, earthquakes, tornadoes, bad winters, she was wrong 99% of the time. It said every prediction she made that could be carried out by people, she was right 100% of the time. And then the story broke. Psychic was on FBI's payroll. And it goes on to say that her job for Hoover was to dirty up the black movement and the anti-war movement. And 18 months before Kennedy was assassinated, she had in her column, President must be careful in Dallas. You damn right, because the people gonna kill him, gave you the information. Then when he gets hit, they go back and say, oh, Gene Dixon predicted that. That's how vicious this country is. They got people running around believing the spirit done touched her. Pope go all over the world blessing folks and talking about poverty and what we got to do. He ain't never talked about priests ripping off them little boys' booty. And that's when I realized prayers work. I don't know what them priests be doing when they be ripping them little boys off, but I know they got to be praying. I listen to God, I know what I'm doing is not right, because this is a child. But I'm not going to ask you to forgive me, or don't let me get caught. Just fix it so they won't remember it for a long time. And it worked. He'll be 90 years old, walking down the street with his wife and start hollering, ah! What's wrong? Father O'Malley ripped me off when? In 1904. She's the one that predicted that King got to be careful going in to Memphis. And now we know why. But hear me good now. Because when you read this stuff, you think some divine order from God or Christ or something told her something. Old hoe. Queen Elizabeth ain't nothing but an old hoe. You know, it's amazing how white folk can wrap up. You know, it's hard for you to sit there and visualize Queen Elizabeth somewhere sitting in the toilet with her drawers drooped over her knee, farting and sticking up that toilet just like you. There is no such thing as a queen's doo-doo. It's all the same. And she might be burning some good incense. The games. Huh? How long? Under the Freedom of Information Act, they had to admit, hell of an article in the Memphis Commercial Appeal, March 21st, 1993. Army feared King, secretly watched him. Spying on blacks started 75 years ago. This is the headline. Huh? And they go on to talk about they started watching King when he was in high school. Huh? So don't think they just killed him because he just started bugging some white folks. Huh? They started watching him when he was in high school. The Army, the United States military. So y'all just sit around, just act like y'all relax and business as usual. No. This boy is somewhere now plotting. How can we do it? Somewhere. You got to listen. You got to listen to Brother Bill Cosby gave $20 million to spell. Didn't promise it, gave it to him. Nobody's ever gave that kind of money. 3 days later, big headlines, the white boy on TV Guide, he gives $50 million to United Negro Congress. He didn't. He pledged $50 million if they raise $50 million. Well, that's like not giving up. Nothing. And even when they like you, the big ones, you got to be careful. Oh, you couldn't be loved in this country by white folk no more than Bill Cosby. I mean, anytime they let you advertise tapioca, I mean, that's that white boy pudding. But y'all got to be careful. Because sometimes you think you're seeing one thing, you're seeing something else. They gave Bill Cosby a great show. He was a doctor, wife was a lawyer. 98% of white folks in America before the Bill Cosby show had never seen a black doctor. The most trifling black, ghetto, thug, dropout. We got black doctors in our family. 98% of white folks in America before the Bill Cosby show had never seen a black lawyer. So all it was, they see a black doctor and a black lawyer. A black doctor that never goes to the clinic, never deals with a patient, never deals with the sick. A black lawyer that never has a client or deal with a case or deal with justice, just sitting around the living room woofing with the children. That's not what black life is about. When white boy put on a dress, they call him a cross-dresser or a transvestite. When they call RuPaul a beautiful black woman, sisters, they say they fixing to kill you. And any of you black women can look at that thing on television and think he's a beautiful black woman. God is telling you, you really got to like him. And they take him and refer to him. Got him selling makeup and stuff for black women, and if any of y'all are stupid enough to buy it, you need to go home and flush that stuff down the toilet. And then Bill Cosby made one mistake. He said, I want to buy NBC. And the boy ain't had no peace sense. The boy ain't had no peace sense. Because he could buy NBC, owned by General Electric, CBS, owned by Westinghouse. Them two companies alone make 87% of all the weapons on this planet that kill people is made out of them two companies, and they gonna give us the news? And you know when his son was killed, they told us it wasn't robbery. They found $6,000 cash and credit cards and cell phone, then they went and arrested that Russian boy. 9 months later, said it was robbery. And we checked it out, the Russian boy was in Mexico that night. He wasn't even here, so even the lawyer they sent in was a trick. That's the games they play. In some kind of way, we got to understand that. Look at TV, look at it for entertainment. Look at the news for entertainment. 98% of the stuff they're saying, you don't even have to be smart, y'all lie. Say the OJ trial, the trial of the century. And nobody said, well, wait a minute. What about the Nuremberg trial? What about Brown versus Topeka, Kansas? And if there was going to be a trial of the century pertaining to black, it looked like we would say, we'll pick it. Not you all. If we have had to have the trial of the century in the last 10 years, it wasn't in California with OJ, it was right here in New York. In Long Island, the dude that shot them people on, they said shot the people on the train. Colin Ferguson. He's your hero. One day when y'all find out the boy was under mind control and he ain't done none of that, you find that you better be careful how you pick your hero. If he shot him, I shot him. That's what mind control is about. That's why I tell y'all better stop being so busy trying to sell some whoop tickets of this racist thing and don't think what you're looking at. He shot up everybody on the plane, and when they grabbed him, he says, oh my God, what have I done? Something wrong with that statement. Something wrong when they tell me the brother had his pregnant woman killed, the basketball player. I don't have no problem with that. But when they caught him in the trunk of the car, this brother is clean-shaven head. He had a stocking cap on. Slick-head brothers don't wear stocking caps. So y'all better stop being so old super nigger hip and slick trying to react to a white racist system instead of the God force inside. That one can't be tricked. Most of you ain't fit to think you're too tired. Working 3-4 jobs and ain't got nothing. Somewhere when you understand. That brother, what was his name, Ferguson? Tom Ferguson. Now, that was a trial of the century. That boy defended himself. Now, you talking about a dream team. I mean, that boy walked out there like he was two people. Did y'all see? He said, Judge, Your Honor, my client, Mr. Ferguson, they not feed him enough food at night in jail. And the judge was cool. Judge said, we'll take care of that. One thing about white folks in America, when they love you, they love you. His opening argument was fabulous. He said to the juror, he says, I'm not denying that my client, Mr. Ferguson, was not on that train. I'm not denying he didn't have a gun. The gun that those folks were shot and killed with, my client, Mr. Ferguson, had it in his bag. What you all don't understand, he went to sleep. While he was asleep, a white dude took that gun, shot them people, put it back in the bag. And that's what I said in America, when white folks love it, they love it. I mean, the press haven't said yet, if you were asleep, how you know it was a white boy? And boy, when he was cross-examining this one white girl who had been shot 6 times, I'll never forget that. He said, "Miss, are you going to sit there on that witness stand and tell me my client, Mr. Ferguson, shot you 6 times?" That white woman went off. She said, "I'm saying you shot me 6 times." He said, "Now you're saying it was 2 people, huh?" Somewhere. Game. You know, one day you just have to sit by yourself and just ask yourself this simple question. What is black on black crime? I don't understand why y'all upset at black on black crime. If we all went to China tonight, who do you think killing Chinese in China? And if we went to Italy in the morning, who do you think killing Italians in Italy? And if 98% of the white folks in America that was murdered last year was murdered by white folks, if they not talking about white on white crime, why are you talking about black on black crime? You kill where you live. And if you don't want black folks killing black folks, then join the NAACP, the Urban League, that's it. And all of us integrate this country. And I guarantee you, if I'm living way over here in this white suburban neighborhood, and my old lady make me mad enough to want to shoot somebody, I'm not going to jump in my car and drive all the way back to the ghetto and shoot you. I'm going next door and shoot my white neighbor. But understand this system now. Jesse Jackson, he can go all over the world and bring hostages home, and he's just a nice guy. He go down there in Illinois and get to dealing with some black folks up. He's doing it for publicity. And Jesse was really lucky on them hostages from Bosnia, because he called them white folks, but they didn't understand. Well, you know, Jesse can talk a little funny sometimes. Jesse called them white folks in Bosnia and said, "I'd like to come and get the hostages." They thought he said he'd like to come get some sausages. They didn't know that boy was talking about hostages until he got over there. She said, "Well, okay, but take them both, the hostages and the sausages." On April the 4th, 1968, a good man was killed in Memphis by a wicked, evil, nasty, insane government. But if this planet lasts 10 billion years, the only reason America will be mentioned will be because of Dr. King and that movement. That's the only way America will ever be a footnote, will ever get her name mentioned. I was at the trial in Memphis. I want to show you all quickly, explain to you why that jury of 6 blacks and 6 whites after 3 hours came back and found that white boy guilty of conspiring to kill Dr. Martin Luther King. And they went further than that. And they also said there was some co-conspirators, black folks, unnamed, that was involved. I want to show you a little 3-minute clip of the minister that Dr. King was going by his house for dinner. He was due at 7, but they had to move it up because 7 would be a little too dark to shoot somebody. So they moved it to 6 o'clock. 2 years ago at a press conference in Memphis, I get a call When they say so-and-so is thinking about killing so-and-so. I said, what? I said, well, he said something at a press conference. I said, put him on the phone. I said, whatever you do, get that film. Because once NBC realized what this brother had slipped and said, we will never get our hands on the film. What you're fixing to see now went into the evidence in the King trial where they brought a wrongful death suit, and I'll explain that to you quickly in a minute. But what you're fixing to witness now is the man who came by to get King to take him to dinner. And 30 years later at a press conference, he slipped because God do baffle your mind sometimes. You look,
some of the activities are geared especially for the young who did not have a chance to get the feel or to know what the civil rights movement actually was about. Even as they marched, now they could have stopped in a hotel, but when you think about marching from Memphis to Jackson or Jackson to Memphis, there were no hotels. You stayed in churches, you stayed in people's homes, and that's how we got over, that's how we got through. The struggle was a spiritual struggle. You couldn't pay people to do what we had to do. You couldn't pay people to stand before mad dogs and fire hoses and billy clubs and cattle prods. It was strictly a spiritual and moral movement. So we wanted that dimension to be in the pilgrimage to Memphis. We will revisit the mountaintop speech site. That's the Mason's Temple, where Dr. King made his last address, which he almost didn't make, because the night that we were having that rally, there were tornado warnings, and he was behind on the Poor People's Campaign. And he said, you guys go on over and have the rally. I'm going to stay at the motel and work on the Poor People's Campaign. When we got there and Dr. Abernathy walked in and Jesse Jackson walked in and I walked in and others, people started clapping because they thought Martin was behind us. And so Ralph's preacher sense said to him, this is not our crowd. And he went to the phone and called Dr. King. And any of the marches that we had in those days, you have an opportunity to bring the children and bring the family and march with us. And when I finished sharing with them the last hour of Dr. King's life, hurry. But that gave me the wonderful privilege of spending the last hour on earth. 3 preachers in a room, Abernathy, King, and Kiles. And we spent that last hour together in room 306 at the Lorraine Motel. The press is always curious, and writers, what went on? What did you talk about? I say, we just talk preacher talk. What preachers talk about when they get together.
y'all pay real
Revivals
attention
and
to
all the
what
like.
you're fixing to hear now.
About 5:45, we walked on the balcony, and he was talking to people in the courtyard. He stood here and I stood there. Only as I moved away, so we could have a clear shot, the shot rang out.
Thank you.
I turned around and then knocked him back on the balcony.
Listen. Oh. Wait, listen. Listen. 30 years later, this brother never realized that he would slip and say that. Do you know what happened when you're sitting in a jury room about a conspiracy and this piece of film is introduced? He stood here, I stood here, only as I moved away so he could have a clear shot. The shot rang out. This was the brother that he was going by his house for dinner. Now, to my brother Matt, you will have a copy of this tape. I'll get it back to you. And what you should do is make copies. See to it, because this is a very valuable. And y'all need to send this tape to people all over this country. And so this was the trial that went on that the press didn't want to report because they